And we are back, and we just finished watching Shadow in the Cloud from 2020, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 23 minutes. This is currently streaming on Hulu and tells the story of, according to IMDb, a female World War II pilot traveling with top secret documents on a B-17 Flying Fortress encounters an evil presence on board the flight. This was directed by Roseanne Liang, with writing credits to Max Landis and Roseanne Liang. What do you think?
I enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't expect to like this as much as I did. Thank you, Twitter, for putting me onto this movie.
It's like a fun action-y sort of thriller there.
Yes, this is tagged as action horror war. It's definitely action. It's mild horror.
Yeah, mild horror. There's elements of war there. Yeah,
it
takes place during World War II.
We'll speak to spoilers later. You want to go through?
Yeah, we'll do the spoilers later.
So, again, this is the story of a young woman who has an important package that she has to protect, who gets on a plane with a bunch of rowdy young servicemen.
Who don't like
a woman dames.
on board, and dames are useless and only good for one thing, which they talk about
extensively,
quite graphically in the beginning.
Yes, there's a lot of bad language in this. So
yes.
This is not for the younger kids, although we saw it with our oldest, but she's very mature for her age. And she enjoyed it as well, but she's not doing the review with us. But yeah, and it's very pretty. Very. Wow.
I mean, for something that didn't get a major release, as far as I know, there's definitely some money behind this thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to look at. The special effects are good. The set, it's interesting the way the film is sort of set up, because I would say the beginning half of the movie is just her in that little
cockpit
that
thing.
little dome there at the bottom of the plane. And it's just her speaking to the other crew members on the headset. So you don't even really see what's going on from the rest of the crew's point of view. You just see her point of view. And yeah, that was pretty interesting, just like her inside that thing. It was like a one-woman show there for the
what? It's so funny that you said that. I was going to say that. It almost felt like it could have been like a Broadway thing.
Yeah.
It certainly could have. With that script, it definitely could have been like in a play format.
Yeah, definitely. And even when she leaves or finally gets out of the bubble, you're dealing with one set pretty much. It's just the interior of this flying fortress, which is, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies in the plane. There's all these like little domes and bubbles where these gunners are. It's a small setting and
very contained.
Contained. It looks great. Everything. Looks
I was
great.
going to say it very much felt authentic to that time.
Yeah, and just the lighting, the costumes, everything looked really big budget.
Yeah. I heard about this movie on somebody's Twitter thread, so I don't know who you were, but thank you for the recommendation. I had a blast. This is not a long movie. It's only 1 hour and 23 minutes, and it moves fairly quickly, fairly quickly.
I think I heard about it a while back on some article about films that were coming out that probably weren't going to see any sort of release because of
COVID.
Because of the pandemic,
yeah.
And that was one of them. And like I think they said they were kind of surprised, but from what I remember, also I think something else sort of sandbagged it. And
I was going to say the Max Landis connection.
Max Landis.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think is it COVID that this did poorly, or is it the Max Landis connection?
I think that was just a double whammy.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but the fact that he just got revealed to be such a piece of crap.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I don't think anything with his name on it is ever really going to see a major release
or push or anything. Yeah,
even something that was as entertaining as this.
And it's unfortunate because this was really, really well done. I mean, at the beginning, I will out myself and say I was a little taken aback because the musical choices in this film just didn't feel like they fit the time period. So that took me out a little. But once you get into once you get into the story, that sort of falls away because you're so engrossed in what's happening to this character, and will everything turn out fine? And I think you brought a great point that this is absolutely an homage to John Carpenter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody wants to ape John Carpenter now, and this one, I wouldn't say this is like The Thing. I would say this is more pushing towards I guess more Big Trouble in Little China. They live sort of vibe, with the more of the when he started really taking over the soundtracks of his movies. And even the title card, the way it wasn't the Stranger Things font, which is a ripoff of
a lot of other
John
Carpenter
stuff, but it was definitely a font reminiscent of that.
For sure.
And that a lot of that sort of creepy synthesized sort of music.
And you know what's so funny too? Now that I think about it, this totally could have been a movie from the 80s.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
And you know what's funny? I would probably say this past weekend, I had just seen the segment of the Twilight Zone movie with John Lithgow. And
yeah.
This sort of goes in that direction. But
very reminiscent.
Yeah. I like I said, if I'm not.
And I think the other thing that I liked was the malevolent. What's the word? Malevolent. Can you say that again?
Malevolent.
The presence. That wasn't all CG, was it?
I don't know. I think it was. I think it was.
Oh, was it? Because I was like, is some of that practical? Because it looked really good.
Maybe small bits of it were, but I think roughly for the most part it was CG, because it looked good.
No, it looked fantastic.
It didn't look like.
And I'm especially thinking about the part where she's in the bubble and it's looking at her.
Yeah.
That scene, I was like, is that a puppet, or is that you know what I mean? Is that a dude in a suit?
that was just CG.
It was really well done.
That's why I'm saying this film had some money behind it. It wasn't, you weren't getting the Swan Princess sort of
Swan
CG.
Princess Christmas. I can't believe we sat through that. The kid wanted to watch it though.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Do you want to give your numbers and we'll go into spoilers, or is there just more basic stuff you want to say?
More basic stuff. I would, you know what? We can do our numbers. I am going to give this film an 8. I thought the script was decent, really good, and moved really quickly. This is absolutely an action movie. It is absolutely an homage to John Carpenter. If you like any of what I've just said, run, do not walk, and go check out Shadow in the Cloud, which is currently streaming on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm not much higher than you. I give it an 8. I think the cinematography on this was really good.
Very good.
The set pieces were fantastic. It felt all authentic. The costuming, the script. It's not Shakespeare, but it's not. You're not bored. It moves real fast. I mean, my kid and I were both like, oh my God, right? I mean, there was a lot of tension, a lot of suspense, and you were really invested in the story and the character.
Yeah, you were all rooting for, was her name Maude?
Maude.
Rooting for Maude.
Chloë Grace Moretz?
Moretz, I think so.
I'm glad to see her and stuff. I've always liked her, and I think as she gets older, she'll definitely amass a really interesting filmography, so I'm here for it. All right, so do you want to speak to spoilers now?
Okay, yeah. So now we're going into spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn off the podcast. If you don't care about that sort of thing,
then
listen
continue.
On. So we made mention to some sort of CG effect, and it's a gremlin. It's some sort of creature is on the plane, damaging it, tearing it apart, and they go into they
do a very clever thing in the beginning. There's that little PSA.
The little PSA, which is like a cartoon. It's in sort of almost a Looney Tunes style.
Very 40s feel.
No, that's the problem. That's the thing I had. It wasn't.
Here we go.
I was nitpicking here, but the style of the cartoon was not
40s.
Was not era appropriate. It was more of a I would probably say 50s, 60s when they changed the way they animated stuff. Also, it wasn't in black and white. It should have been in black and white.
It
should have had some sort of film grain to it or something, because it was a public service announcement.
Right.
And the character design of the little soldier was very later era character design. It wasn't from the 40s. That bothered me.
Because you're a nerd.
Because I'm a nerd and I pay attention to stuff like that. But also, I kind of didn't
need that.
I didn't want that, because I felt like that spoiled it even more for me. Because
now you're telling me.
Now you're telling me it's about gremlins.
Right.
Or that there is the gremlin legend. I don't know if anybody's not familiar with the gremlin legend. Basically, anytime during war, like World War II, they were saying, okay, if a plane was breaking down, it wasn't because the mechanics screwed up or anything. It was because the Japanese had some sort of secret weapon, which was these little creatures that would crawl around on airplanes as they flew around, sabotaging it. Mm-hmm. And just watch Gremlins from the Robert Zemeckis film. Saying that that's what those things were, but this thing obviously looks different. Also, the gremlin from the Twilight Zone episode, that was also a gremlin. I would have rather it
just start from the
start from that, where the first hint that this thing is there is when she looks under the plane before she gets on and she sees that cable, which she thinks is a cable, and it sort of like slinks back up onto the underbelly of the plane.
Right.
And then when she first sort of sees the shady outline on the wing,
I
would have liked that better, to let us be exposed to this thing together, rather than, hey, this is a movie with a gremlin in it, or the gremlin's going to cause sabotage. But the thing that was interesting about this movie was it wasn't really just about the fact that there was a gremlin on the plane. There was so much other stuff going on. There was the whole drama with Maude and the secret package.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were under attack by Japanese airplanes. Yeah. So the gremlin was just one facet of what was going on. It was like, oh, we're having a really bad day. And it's just all sorts of crap going on.
And with her, I mean, it's kind of interesting, especially with the Max Landis connection, that there's also this sense of dread. Here's this female surrounded by all these men, and they're very aggressive. They're very
demeaning.
Oh
my God! So like women, they're basically like they're useless. Women can't be pilots.
Right.
Women, you're lying. You're full of crap.
Or she was getting emotional.
She's getting emotional. She's doing her menstrual thing.
Yeah.
All the chatter over the
comms.
The comms was extremely sexist, derogatory chatter.
Which is interesting with the Max Landis connection.
Yeah. But then you have the fact that she is pretty much the strongest character.
Oh my gosh.
In all ways. I'm not even talking about just like,
she's the smartest.
Like she's got a lot of heart. No. She is doing stuff that these guys would not be able to do.
Right.
Like she's fighting. She's doing all this stuff. She's just blowing the Japanese ships out of the sky.
She's like Tom Cruise on those MI movies, right?
Yes.
She is hanging off the sides of planes.
She's hanging off the sides of planes. Seriously, throw your disbelief out the window. There is no way she could do any of this stuff. I mean, she has,
especially with broken bones.
She has a reason. Like there, you could always say, "Oh, here's the big spoiler. It's mom strength," because big spoiler, the secret package of documents that you've been led to believe is actually just a baby, which somehow she like got a sedative into and put in a box, a little satchel, and so there's been a baby in this thing the whole time, and she is doing everything in her power to protect her baby.
Right.
And there's basically a point where she hears over the comm that this thing got into the plane, and oh my God, he's out. One of the characters is down, and the baby's gone, and she loses it. She starts screaming in the little dome she's in, and then she looks out the wing, and there's this freaking gremlin
with
the baby. He's got the box with the baby in it, and she's just like, you don't know what I'm gonna fucking do. And she just hulks up super mom strength. And she is like, I mean, seriously,
You're
she's
not
got
wrong. You're not wrong.
Her grip strength, like she could tear a parking meter in half with her grip strength. She's like holding onto the handholds of the plane. She's upside down.
Oh my God, that sequence was ridiculous.
And you're.
But I was
you're
here
loving
for
it.
all of it.
You're loving it because it's just like you're stressed out. You want her to succeed. This is a mother trying desperately to save her baby from this freaking hideous bat monkey creature. And you're rooting for her. You like her. You seriously like her character. That's good. They made a character that you care about and you want to see succeed.
And you almost forget that Max Landis is associated with this film.
I had you know what, I didn't know he was associated until the final credit rolled and you saw his name. So I had no...
It was in the beginning, but it's okay.
I didn't see it in the beginning. Maybe I was looking away or something, but it didn't taint anything for me. It was just fun. Yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Well, from the Twitter thread, I knew that he was involved, but I felt like the positive review that the person had posted about it outweighed my dislike of Max Landis, so I was willing to give this a shot. Although I do admit I was trying not to like it. And I think that's why I kept picking apart, like, why is this all this 80s music? This doesn't fit. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance because I'm hella entertained right now.
Yeah, I probably would have gone with a different type of score for the thing. There was one, like, I kind of got used to the like the synthy stuff, but then there was like that one section where there was like, it was just like a rock ballad or something. You know, it was just like, okay, now we're in a completely different genre.
And then they ended with Kate Bush.
And then
so maybe
they were waiting to get like a proper score put in.
I don't know.
And this was just like the
original
music.
Other music sounded like it was made on some app. I mean, it wasn't like, unless you went to like YouTube Library for that kind of stuff.
I mean, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but it
like
was that.
Somebody busted out their Casio calculator and was like,
that would have been totally 80s.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a little, I would say it took you a little bit out of the moment in the beginning, but then once the story started getting rolling, it didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me, yeah. Agreed. And again, Chloë Grace was fantastic in this. She was
great in it.
The men are in it, but they're sort of like secondary. This is definitely her film.
They're very secondary. It's her show. Like, seriously, this is about as close to a one-woman show as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are in it. They're not really that important.
No. I've quickly forgotten all of their names. And when you see the baby, it's a very aw moment.
Yeah, it's a cute little baby.
It was a very cute little baby.
Who honestly should have been dead like a million times.
I know.
Because it's not like they're like cradling the box gently.
No.
It's like swinging around and it's upside down. It's vertical. It's just.
Well, this is the 40s. There's no PC. That kid wouldn't have even come home in a car seat from the hospital.
That kid's definitely gotten like shaken baby syndrome because he was plane crashes and explosions. Seriously, that kid's deaf and has severe brain damage.
Anything else we want to say about this? I was hella entertained.
I had a great time watching this
I had a great time watching this too.
This was a nice, fun little action thriller.
Yeah, and it was nice that it wasn't long. I think we're so used to watching these long things.
This was like popcorn.
Yes, this was fun. It's
not going to win any awards. Philosophers will not start going deep on this
wax poetics about this. No, there's none of that. But if you want to just turn off your brain and watch something and be entertained for an hour and 23 minutes, this is a sure bet.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this got the love that it should have gotten, but search it out.
It had a lot of
filmmaker, woman director, woman scriptwriter, Max Landis. Don't worry about it. support it for the other reasons. This is a movie that was made in New Zealand. It's pumping money, hopefully, into the economy. All these actors got to get paid for doing some work in a pandemic. So there's a lot of pluses here that outweigh the bad. So again, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Go on over to Hulu, which I think is going to be our streaming app of choice in the next few weeks.
Yeah, there's
and
a couple.
check
When
out.
we were scrolling through, there's a couple.
Yeah, there's a ton
candidates.
of stuff. There's a ton of stuff. And if I didn't mention it before, go check out Batman and Bill, which is also streaming on Hulu.
Yeah, great documentary.
Great documentary. Will break your heart into a million pieces. But if you don't want to cry and just want some popcorny, fun action fare, check out Shadow in the Cloud 2020, 1 hour, 23 minutes, currently streaming on Hulu. And that is it for us, and we will bid you all a good night.
Good night.